Hi, my name is Savannah and welcome to my channel and welcome to the first episode of the Origins Legacy Challenge. So this is just gonna be like an introductory video introducing you to the challenge, the Sims, and the homes I built for them. So what I've taken for this challenge to be is sort of like a mix of a legacy challenge and a forever save file. The part that's the most important for this challenge is storytelling, like, making sure your Sims have like a rich history and backstory, and making sure your Sims are the ones paying for all the builds in the world. So the builds can be pre-made from the gallery, or you can build them yourself. The only thing is your Sims have to have the funds to pay for it. So basically you're taxing your Sims to pull their money to do community lots, but you can also have one family be really focused on opening their own business. Like, for example, there's a Sim I've made that really wants to own her own jewelry store, but she has to make enough money for me to build the lot. So speaking of building, as someone who is not the best builder, I'm going to try my hardest to build all the lots to become a better builder. This is going to be like a challenge for me to kind of work on my building skills. So that's why in this video I'm going to have like sort of speed builds to show you all the family homes that I've built. They're right here. And again, I am not the greatest builder, but I hope this challenge helps me work on that skill. So second thing, I am what some might call a grinder. I don't usually storytell with my Sims all that much, but especially as someone who wants to actually become an author, I'm going to try to still grind a bit, but focus a lot more on the storytelling for these families. I've written backstories for them all and future wants if their stories go the way I've imagined. And with this challenge, that's kind of the point. You're building these Sims' history and their legacy. So I'm going to leave a link to Rosanna TXT's video on this challenge in the description box for more information, but I'm going to give a slight overview. So basically you start out with a blank save file and your goal is to build out each world in the Sims one at a time, while also making sure your families have their own stories going on too. So every week there's a dice you have to roll. We're going to be rolling on Sunday, and whatever you roll will impact your game. Like, so some rolls can be good and some can be a bit of a challenge. Also with careers, some careers are restricted until you do certain things. Like, for example, the athlete career is locked until you build your first gym, but some careers have no limitations for them, like the culinary career. So for my storytelling purposes, I'm going to mostly follow this, but if something fits just too perfectly into the story, then I'm going to bend the rules on that, like the politician career, for example. So it's currently locked until you have one family in San Myshuno, but I want the world to like have a mayor or like some sort of city council, and since I couldn't find a mod for a career like that, I found an active career version of the politician career that like kind of mimics that a little bit. So also speaking of like modded careers, I gave restrictions because I have a lot of modded careers, but I gave my own restrictions to them, and some of them that are like starter that have no restrictions. So yeah, we're just gonna play that by ear basically. So last thing, taxes. The way I'm gonna calculate taxes is gonna be maybe a bit weird, so like just stay with me. Every Monday after the first week, like the first in-game week, I'm gonna take property, salary, and bill taxes. So I might roll the dice for this, but if I don't, the taxes are gonna be as follows. Property taxes will be 20% of the total cost of the family's home. Salary tax will be 10% of their weekly earnings, and the bill tax will basically just be whatever bills they pay. They'll be paying the bills regularly, like normally in game, but I'm gonna add whatever they paid in bills to the community pool of money. So as of right now, that's the way I'm gonna do taxes. It's subject to change. I'm gonna keep track of that myself. I also have the S&B bank mod, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not. I guess we'll see. The tax idea is inspired heavily from another simmer doing this challenge, Pix Life Crisis, and I'm going to leave a link to their channel in the description box as well. You should definitely check them out. They very much inspired me to want to do this myself. So I know there's a lot of information, but now we're going to get into it. I'm going to introduce you to all the families and then give you the speed builds of all of their homes. I know they're only supposed to start with 20k, but I sort of ignored that rule so I could focus more on storytelling rather than building up their homes. Like, because I know me. If I was focused on making money for a nicer home, I would 100% fail on storytelling. Again, grinder. I love rags to riches, but then when they get rich, I'm bored. So if I don't have to focus on like making a nicer house, I can just focus on storytelling. So just made it a little easy on myself. So okay, here we go. We're going to start with family 1. 4 best friends for life decide to start a new life together, all with aligned dreams of creating something from nothing. Cousins Sasha and Dylan came out of the womb as partners in crime, and soon Yasmin and Jade helped create their foursome. Always friends, but since moving to this new place, they all seem to be drifting in different directions. Is it just growing pains, or are they growing apart? So, sidebar of what I want to say about them. The first one I gave a name to was Jade, and I also kind of wrote down what I wanted their ethnic background to be. And I realized after I named her Jade that Sasha here I said was going to be black, and that Yasmin I was like, she's going to be Latina. And then I was like, Jade is Asian. And I kind of hee-hee-ha to myself, and my mind immediately went, Brats, the girls with the passion for fashion. I was like, I'm gonna name them after the brats that they coincide with. It was totally an accident, but happy accidents. So Sasha, her traits are goofball, foodie, and idealistic. I also have a mod to give them more traits, and I have modded traits. So Sasha, also her aspiration is baker. Again, a mod. I love a mod in this game. Makes it so much better. Also, why her last name is Cook. Okay, so Sasha has always had her head in the clouds. Nothing has ever been too serious to her. The only thing she's ever been serious about, owning a bakery. So she dreams big and lives in the moment. Her biggest flaw, forgetting others have their own dreams. Yeah. And while those she loves love her too, their growing distance may be too much for her to bear. So this is my girl Sasha. Kind of wanted to give her relaxed, I don't know if it's boho, but I was like, I don't really know how to dress her. Let's just go for whatever. So this is her everyday. This is her formal. This is her athletic. This is her sleepwear, party, swimwear, her hot weather, and her cold weather. So very relaxed, very chill. That's my girl Sash, right? And then her cousin Dylan. So Dylan's traits are active, cheeky, and he has a green thumb. And his aspiration is freelance botanist. Dylan had sports dreams once, but things didn't go the way he planned. The only thing that centered him was his small veggie garden he had that he would plant in and stuff with Jade. But when he got injured and lost his dream, he missed the runner's high he loved, and without having to fear random drug tests anymore, he found something else to give him that high. And after making a new friend in this new town, potentially, he realized something new about himself. Maybe green could be his new dream. I am not great at making meal sims, but I've been trying to get a little bit better at that. So that's Dylan. This is everyday. This is formal. This is athletic. His sleepwear. His party. His swimwear. His hot weather. And his cold weather. So that is my good boy Dill. His name's Dylan. Then we have Jade. I love her. I love her. This is Jade. Her traits are loves the outdoors, love struck, and jealous. Her aspiration is crystal crafter. Jade is a lover through and through. When Jade decides she loves something or someone, she will not stop until that person or that thing is hers. But due to past trauma, once she has that thing or that person, she's terrified to lose them, which manifests into intense jealousy. So she finds peace just by being in nature, taking walks. One day, she saw a peculiar rock like a long time ago and she excavated it. She found an emerald crystal. It felt like a sign. She learned all about crystal crafting and learned she could use them to make jewelry. And as someone that loves to accessorize, her dream career manifested. So in this new town, Jade knew she wanted more than online sales. She's an Etsy girl. So she wanted a storefront. So she searched online, and my idea for her is kind of that she found a guy that offered contracts for construction services. She met with him, and not only did he seem perfect for the job, but he seemed perfect in general. And it seemed like the feeling was mutual. I just feel it in my bones. She's gonna be fun. So this is her everyday look. She has a bit of maybe a little bit of an alt, but cutesy look. This is her formal wear. And I had the idea of giving her green hair, but I said, I don't know. I found this hair and I really like this color. So I said, maybe one day she'll have green hair. Maybe one day we'll just do normal black. But this hair just killer, right? So her athletic wear, her sleepwear, her party, her swim, her hot weather, and her cold weather. I totally forgot that I gave her a tattoo. God, she's so cool. I love her. Then we have sweet little cutesy Yasmin. So Yasmin's traits are funny, loyal, dog lover, and insecure, right? Her aspiration is romantic explorer. So growing up, Yasmin dealt with judgmental parents that expected excellence in all things. She even trained to be an Olympic skater, but the pressure led to a career-ending injury at just 13. Parallels, her and Dylan, right? But the pressure didn't go away. All of this led to intense insecurity in Yasmin, so she only feels comfortable around her best friends and animals, specifically dogs. You don't have to earn their love. They give it for free. So she dreams of being a vet, but for now she just is kind of making perfumes because dogs and animals, they can smell a little bit too much like outside. I was going to make her a dog walker, but I couldn't find a modded career that worked for that. So she's just going to make and sell perfumes for right now because part of loving yourself is also treating yourself. So this is basically her dog, and again with the Bratz idea, the dog is a little golden retriever named Chloe, and I love her. A good girl. Oh god, I love a dog. I'm such a dog person. This is her everyday look. This is her formal. This is her athletic, her sleepwear, her party, her swimwear. Do I know how to speak? Swimwear. Hot weather and her cold weather. I feel like her style is very cutesy, but make it a little bit chic, but cute. So this is the BFFs household, and let's get into their build. So this is the Wright family. This is Mom Francesca, her spouse, Avery, their daughter Anastasia, and their son William. Now, because they are both women, I couldn't in CAS make the kids both of theirs, and even when I used MC Command Center, it like messed up the family tree. I guess we can just say in my mind that we both used IVF. Francesca carried William, and Avery carried Anastasia, right? Cool. Fran, her traits are author, whimsical, and romantic. So Fran doesn't remember the time she didn't want to be a writer. She's always loved storytelling. Her favorite stories were fairy tales as a child, and as an adult that turned to romance novels. When she met Avery, she felt like she was in her very own true love story, but as the honeymoon stage faded, she fell back into reality, and she realized romance novels end when and where they do, because they conclude with a promise of forever without having to address real-life fears, loss of passion, or loss of the power of the initial spark. It can lead to disillusionment, silence, and eventually an end to a relationship that was only surface level, without having to deal with true and deep issues like Avery's apparent resentment of her job as a cop, resulting in a midlife crisis and an end to their marriage. They are separated right now, so this made Fran the main breadwinner. But she's a romance author and she has no inspiration right now. So the two continue to live together for the kids, but avoid one another at all costs because sometimes that initial spark lights again and they let themselves forget their issues for just a minute. They are obsessed with each other in my head. Like they said, you're mine. Oh, also her aspiration is best-selling author. So this is Fran, little Francesca. So this is her everyday. I think I kind of wanted to give her like a bit of an like eclectic, little kind of quirky style. This is her formal wear. Want to add this is blue, not white. She's already been married. She will not wear white to a wedding. She's better than that. She has class. This is her athletic wear. This is her sleep, her party wear, her swimwear, her hot weather, and her cold weather. Batty, Avery. So Avery's traits are ambitious, bookworm, logical, and assertive, and her aspiration is world leader. She's the reason that I said politician career. Locked? Yeah, what? No, it's because of my main girl, Avery. Avery has always been practical, but when she met Fran, she let herself match her whimsy, alright? Fran was imaginative, if a bit impractical, but she had an equal grounded nature that Avery loved to converse with, especially surrounding books, a love they both shared. Avery came from a traditional and conservative background, so she was terrified to come out, but her family accepted her. She lived to make her parents proud, and coming from a family with a legacy in law enforcement, it seemed like the obvious career choice, but Fran's optimism kind of rubbed off on Avery. So she felt like this town, they already had enough cops, right? And Avery believed she had more to offer. So she took a page out of her wife's book and decided to go after her own dream. But Fran, she chose that moment to ignore her own, like, go with the flow personality to judge Avery's decision to not do the sensible thing for, like, once. So Avery decides to go to university and run for town mayor. Fran, she blew up at Avery, and their easy love became not just hard, but contentious. So they separated. They're still technically married, but they're just not together because Avery, she things have to be too perfect for her, right? She said, failure, divorce, not an option. We're not telling anybody. We're not telling the kids. We're not telling our parents. We're just gonna separate, and if we can't fix it, then it is what it is. But Fran, she's kind of resigned to that fact, and Avery, she's like, but no, like, I just wanted a dream. Like, yes, I have a dream. And she was like, let me, let me cook, let me live, right? They still live in the same home for the kids, but every now and then they seem again to forget everything that happened between them and reignited that starting passion for just one night. One night only, you know. So it's my good girl Avery, lover. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Right? This is her everyday. This is her formal. This is her athletic. Her sleepwear. Her party. Her swimwear. Her hot weather. And her cold weather. So this is Anastasia. I think the game took it that she carried William and Francesca carried Anastasia. Fine, let's go with that. Anastasia, her traits are Cuddlebug, shy, and sensitive. Her aspiration is also artistic prodigy. She's a kid. I have a really hard time with child sims because I'm just like, you're basically a toddler that can just do more. I see them as people when they become teens, but I was like, you know what? I want them to kind of be kids and let me figure them out a little bit. Anastasia, or Stassi, is her nickname, is extremely empathetic and perceptive. So she knows something's going on with her moms, but they won't talk about it. So she's at a loss a little bit. She's always been clingy and shy, only being comfortable around her moms and her brother. Even if he doesn't want to hang out with his sister, he makes fun of her, calling her like a baby because she still plays with dolls. And her favorite family member is their dog, Scout. She's a little bit like shy, she keeps to herself, but my idea for her is maybe that the Salude family, which is another family, they have kids, and one of the daughters she becomes friends with because they have a dog too, and she loves dogs. I kind of have an idea for her maybe when she's older to also work as a vet. If Yasmin has a vet clinic, she ends up hiring Anastasia to help out. She doesn't really have any friends, but maybe one of the daughters of the Salude family can be her first actual human friend. So this is Stassi's everyday outfit. This is her formal wear. This is her athletic, her sleepwear, her party wear, her swimwear, her hot weather, and her cold weather. So then there's my good guy, Will. His traits are active and outgoing. So Will, in his head, he says, football, me. NFL, me. He wants to be a famous football player. He just knows he's gonna do it, right? So he loves his moms, but he's not dumb, right? And he hates that they're treating him like he is. He says, I have eyes, I have ears. I can see there's something going on, all right? He in his head, he's like, you're treating me like I'm dumb? I'm not Stassi, okay? It feels insulting, all right? So he spends as much time as he can either in his room or at the playground. He doesn't want to be at home. He's already going through that, right? So Will, he's popular, right? He has a lot of friends, but none really feel like real friends. He feels kind of honestly alone. My idea is kind of that like maybe he comes across the dad in the Salude family and he sees this guy and he's like, this guy, he definitely knows ball, right? My idea is that he's kind of like watching the dad of the Salude family and this guy is like, what is wrong with this kid? This kid is so creepy. But he realizes maybe this kid just needs a friend, and you know, he decides maybe I can like be, como se dice, a mentor to this kid, right? Because Will, dang nabbit, he needs someone. So this is his everyday, right? This is Will, his formal, athletic, his sleepwear, party wear, his swimwear, his hot weather, and his cold weather. Let's go into their build and go into the next family after. Let's go. Okay, so this is the Yamada family. So the Yamada and Woods, excuse me. So when Kakashi, right here, when he met Naomi, it was love at first sight. He may have only been a kid, right? But he knew he'd marry her one day. The only issue, Kakashi was best friends with Naomi's crazy protective older brother, Nate. When Nate found out about Naomi and Kakashi's relationship as teenagers, he felt, a little betrayed. Even to this day, he feels like Kakashi only ever was his friend to get to his sister. However, they all moved to this new town together because they all always planned to kind of like start a business together. One Nate could help build, and Kakashi and Naomi could craft and create like goods for it. It was their dream, right? At least it was Nate's. But it seems in this new town and place in their lives, Naomi and Kakashi have a new dream. A dream of family, and Nate is terrified that he may not be a part of that new dream. So he's feeling a little insecure. So this is Naomi. Her traits are artistic. That's a lie. I don't know how to read. Artist, spoiled and faithful, and her aspiration is big happy family. So Naomi's life has always been perfect. Perfect family, perfect school life, perfect relationship, Moving to this new town, Naomi was ready for the continuation of perfection. However, the ease that her life always possessed didn't come to creating a family. And in terms of the gallery and museum she had plans for, she's an artist. If you couldn't tell, I feel like that's conveyed with her outfit, right? She had plans for a gallery and museum, but those plans, they kind of fell apart when it came to the taxes that they owed in this new town. So now Naomi doesn't know what to do. She's never had to try before. So she's wondering, can she even really learn how to do that? Her mindset's kind of Elle Woods. What, like it's hard?
What, like it's hard?
This is Naomi. Cutie. This is her everyday. This is her formal, her athletic, her sleepwear, her party wear, her swimwear, her hot weather, and her cold weather. Love her. Also, peep the wedding ring. She said, I'm taken. So then there is Kakashi, her husband. Kakashi's traits are photographer's eye, loyal, and old soul, and his aspiration is neighborhood confidant. He's that guy. He's cool, he's chill, he's very good at picking his words, at knowing what to say. Not in a conniving or overtly charming to disarm you kind of way. It's more of he's just a really good speaker. So in his mind, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? That's kind of his motto in life. So Kakashi, he's always believed that, and it's all he has of his birth parents. So no one knows he's adopted. He didn't even know until he planned to move to a new town, and his adopted parents that he thought his whole life were his bio parents told him. They said, ooh, you're about to leave? So interesting, we didn't give birth to you. Crazy, we adopted you. So he's feeling a little offended, a little bit topsy-turvy. So now starting a family with Naomi kind of feels like an impossibility, because he's always somebody who's so sure about things, and he's so knowledgeable, and he's now working with no information. So he's not doing the best. He loves his wife, and her dream was easy for him to adhere to when it was just a creative space for the two of them, but to now add a child or even children, Kakashi, for the first time in his life, he is simply at a loss for any and all words. He doesn't know what to do. He's not doing well. So again, peep the ring. This is Kakashi. I also want to mention that is his name. He's Japanese, but that is his name because okay, I was forced to watch Naruto. It wasn't my choice, and I'll admit I kind of liked it. And my favorite character is Kakashi. This is his everyday, his formal. his athletic, his sleepwear, his party wear, his swimwear, his hot weather, and his cold weather. And then we got my guy Nate, Nathaniel. His traits: active, handy, and eloquent. And his aspiration is soulmate. He's a lover, not a fighter. I love him. So Nate, this man's always been a leader and like life of the party. He's always been able to build the life he wants for himself. That translated to wanting to build his own construction company and help build his sister's dream gallery and studio. But he didn't realize this new town was the start for Naomi and Kakashi. Starting their own family, right. So now Nate needs a plan. And seeing as how this town needs leadership, Nate, he sees an idea. So he was junior and senior class president in high school. How much harder could it be to become the town's mayor? He says, I've done this before. Like,
what, like it's hard?
This is my main guy, Nate. Love him. He's great. This is his everyday. This is formal. His athletic. His sleepwear. Party wear. Right. His swimwear. Hot weather. Cold weather. And if you didn't peep the construction thing, he's kind of who I'm thinking about for my fave Jade. Just want to throw that out there. So let's get into their build. For the Salude family. So Avi, right here, and Brooke, they were teen parents, and it wasn't a part of their plan when they were teenagers, right? However, a second surprise pregnancy also through them for a loop, especially those twins, right? So they love their children, but were terribly struggling. Both also had their own parental trauma, right? Brooklyn had an overbearing mom that demanded perfection, while Avi dealt with a neglectful parents, honestly, that caused him to learn to fight for and raise himself. All they want for their own children is for them to be healthy and happy. They kind of searched online and in books for tips on raising a health-conscious family after having some tricks of their own that they figured out and they implemented. They realized that they had more of a clue compared to others that were lost. So thus began their family vlog channel. But I also want to put out, I feel like in my head, Brooke, she's the kind of person that wouldn't put her kids on camera. Just want to throw that out there. They share recipes, workout regimens, and behind the scenes of their family life. You know, their goal was more healthy kids, and while their kids may be healthy physically, mentally, only time will tell. Let's start with Miss Brooklyn. Miss Brooke. Her traits are family-oriented, health nut, and sincere. Her aspiration is super parent, and Brooke, she grew up with parents that demanded perfection. When she got pregnant at 16, she was pretty much left to fend for herself, but she had Javi, so Brooke vowed to be the best parent she could. She read all the literature she could on parenting, and that led her down a rabbit hole towards childhood health. She learned all about the harm of screen time, bullying, and certain foods that could damage children's development, so she worked to keep her children as healthy as possible with the limited resources she had. And as their children grew, she believed the choices she and Javi made for their kids could be helpful for other parents, so she started a podcast and vlog channel to share parenting tips and healthy recipes. The two also push their kids towards healthy and athletic hobbies, but Brooke wonders sometimes if she spends too much time as a mom and not enough time as a wife. So she wonders how she and Javi can spice up their marriage. You know, they've only ever been with each other. Maybe their horizons should be, I don't know, broadened. So it's kind of what's going on with Miss Brooke. So this is Brooke. Again, peep the wedding ring. She said, I'm taken. I'm an esposa. Right? She's a wife. This is her everyday. It's her formal. Her athletic. Does she have two? Yeah. She said athlete. This is her sleepwear. This is her party wear. This is her swimwear. Her hot weather. And her cold weather. Then we have Javi. Javier. Javi's traits are warm-hearted, health nut again, and bro. So his aspiration is bodybuilder. So Javi, his mother left his life when he was just a baby, and his father never talked about her. All right, he did, however, have a revolving door of women, right? And he left Javi to mostly fend for himself. So Javi learned to cook, clean, and how to protect himself. He pulled a Nate Jacobs slightly, right? He also used his father as a guide of exactly how not to treat women. So when he got his high school girlfriend, Brooke, pregnant, he felt this was his chance to put all he learned into action. He said, I've trained for this, right? So he wanted to be the father, his own father. He never was. So Javi, he's always been an athletic guy, believing the discipline that he cultivated from the gym made him resilient and able to be the husband and father Brooke needed him to be, and he wanted to instill those values in his kids. So when he learned from Brooke that people could make money from making videos to help others with health, Javi decided to share workout tips for others as well. He said, we need that, right? But being parents and content creators made Javi also feel the same thing that Brooke was, like his marriage had become a bit stale, and he loved Brooke too much to let anything ruin them. Brooke mentioned something that intrigues Javi, maybe a little bit too much. And again, he loves Brooke, loves her, like crazy. But he's a lover, right? He's warm-hearted. He's so sweet. Maybe he has enough love to go around. Again, that's what's going on with these two. So this is Javi, cutie, right? Again, peep the ring. This is his everyday. This is his formal. His athletic. Does he have two? He also has two. He's a backwards cap kind of guy. Love that. This is his sleepwear, his party, his swimwear, his hot weather. Does he have two? No. Okay. Hot weather and cold weather. I feel like every man I've shown has boat shoes. I don't know if they all do. He's the only one that I noticed, but I feel like I put most of my men in boat shoes for hot weather. Anyway, this is Javi. I also want to give a little shout out to Bolt. This is their dog, a German pointer, cutie. Okay, then we have little Andreas. So his traits are gamer and logical, and his aspiration is Llamacorn Scout. Again, he's a child. I'm trying. I am. So Andreas, he doesn't like his parents, alright? He doesn't care about sports, he doesn't like the outdoors, and he thinks the food his mom makes is as much as she tries. It's honestly kind of gross, alright? So one day at school, he sees someone else playing a video game, and he knows about them, but he's never like played one. Because you don't, when you have like 10 minutes of screen time a day, you have to pick. And he sees someone playing a video game, and they let him try, and he finds a new love. A whole new world, right? So he then has to sneak around his parents' screen time rules to play games, right? So he wishes there was somewhere in this boring town where he could get out the house and play games for as long as he wants, whenever he wants.
Whenever I want, for as long as I want.
But he decides then and there, when he's older, he's gonna open a place just like that. Man wants an arcade. He longs for the 80s, right? So this is Andreas. His little glasses. This is everyday. This is formal. His athletic. He does not wear this outfit. He does not care. His sleepwear. His party wear. His swimwear. His hot weather. And his cold weather. Now we have Briella, the first of the twins. Brie, her traits are brave and active, and her aspiration is young upstart. Brie and her twin sister are complete opposites in all regards except for looks, because, you know, they're identical. But Brie loves being outdoors, especially in the cold. The first time she steps foot on an ice rink, she feels like she's at home, right? She's Alyssa Liu, right? She's Tanya Harding. Ice skater, right? She wants to be the best, and she needs a coach. Where in this town will she ever find one? Maybe she could ask around, and maybe she might just be lucky enough to stumble onto a figure skating prodigy. You know, I mentioned somebody skated with Olympic prospects until they were 13. And they were happy to get out of that. So maybe she has mentorship in her future. There's a lot that I want from my good girl Yas. So this is Briella. Right. So this is her everyday. This is her formal. This is her athletic. Does she have more than one? I thought so. This is her sleepwear. This is her party wear, her swimwear, her hot weather, and her cold weather. And then our last sim is Blair. Her traits are chatty, music lover, right? So Blair is, again, the complete opposite of her twin sister Brie. She's a lot more like their brother, Andreas, but while he's like kind of like a secret rebel, Blair has no problem announcing how she feels about her parents. In her eyes, dumb rolls, alright? So though she can't stand the idea of disappointing her parents. So She feels that's all she does at every turn. She's like kind of clumsy, where Bree is graceful and she talks non-stop, occasionally putting her foot in her mouth, while Andreas is akin to a stone wall. So, however, Blair loves to help her mom in the kitchen and she loves to watch her create. It reminds her of when she just goes crazy on the piano that her parents couldn't afford to give her lessons for, but they said, "You're playing the piano, alright?" And she said, "Okay, fine, I guess." So, she makes a new friend though and has sweets at their house for the first time. She has never had, like, candy. Their parents love them. You know, it's love. It's tough love, right? But she has some baked goods for the first time. And something is just sparked in Blair. Some people might call it a sugar rush. She says something incredible. Again, for her, whole new world. The possibilities are endless. She begins to resent the bland diet that her parents keep her and her siblings under. They restrict Andreas' love for games and they control every minute of Bree's schedule to prioritize her training. And Blair remembers that they ignored her when she wanted to play the guitar and they instead chose the piano, right? And she said fine, but she wanted a guitar. So she's like, maybe I don't want to be like Andreas. I don't want to just like kind of keep it under wraps and just be a little bit difficult, all right? Maybe I want to cause problems. So that's Blair. This is her face. Again, this is her everyday, her formal, her athletic. This is her sleepwear, her party wear, swimwear, her hot weather, and her cold weather. So let's get into their build. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm really excited to start gameplay, and I hope that you guys are too. I do want to add that I added a cemetery already in. I feel like I read in the rules at one point that you are supposed to have one, and I just said, well, then I'm just gonna add it in. They didn't pay for it, and it's already here, so I was just like, I'll let it be a free build. Like it's literally just a graveyard though. So I got it off the gallery. I just edited it a little bit, and I don't remember who built it, but if I do, I will like try to put it like in the description box or something. So yeah, I also put them all in Foundry Code because I was like, I feel like, you know, they should be in like the family area, and I have plans, I have ideas, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, I want to put out like the first actual gameplay episode soon, so watch out for that. If you can hear like a lawnmower outside, I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do about that. But yeah, so because of that, I'm gonna end it right here. So thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys all for the next one. Goodbye.